Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's Soul Chat. So, let's talk about timing. Let's talk about God's timing for us and trusting that timing. So, what happens in our life a lot of times, probably over and over again, is that we get stuck in the when and how of something, right? So, let's say you have a desire, and let's say your desire is to have a child, let's just say, right? And this used to happen to me all the time when I was going through my journey, my fertility journey. And you're looking at like the clock, time, right? And you're like, I need to have a baby by now. I need to have a baby by now. And it's not happening. And then it's like, you're like, what's going on? Maybe you're getting redirected. Maybe things are not happening. Maybe there's rejection on the way, right? Like, over and over again, you might not be conceiving, or maybe you're going to fertility clinics and they're not able to help you, or they're telling you that you have unexplained infertility, right? And you're just like getting very frustrated, and you're just like wondering, like, when is this going to happen? I had a timeline, I had this thing. So God doesn't work based off that. The universe doesn't work based off that source, whatever you call it. I recently heard somebody say that they call God, universe, source, Gus. You might have watched that video, and it's really cool. I might start using Gus every now and then, and so if I do, it means God, universe, source. So in these situations, the actual lesson is in what you're going through, right? So let's take a step back. You asked for something. You asked God, universe, source, Gus. You asked for something. In this example, we're using to get pregnant, to have a child, to have a baby. And now you're waiting. And in that waiting period, that period of time where you're waiting, you are learning a lot about yourself. There's a lot of lessons that are unfolding in those present moments, right? We're being asked of, one, is our vessel expansive enough to hold this child? Are we ready to call this child into our life? Are we making those changes within ourselves to be a mother or a father? Are we embodying that, right? There's many things that are happening, and questions that are happening that are deciding when that's going to happen. But ultimately, the ultimate lesson in all of this is, do you trust me? And when I say me, that's God, universe, source. Do you trust and have unwavering faith and certainty that whatever you ask for will be given to you because it's already yours, nobody else's? If you have the desire, the blessing's coming. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that that's going to happen? Do you believe in your own abilities that that's going to come to you because you asked for it? And do you have faith that it's going to happen? Or is your faith going to waver? Is your trust, is your certainty going to waver? And that is the ultimate lesson. And I'm going to start a whole series. Me and one of my really good friends, I always joke with her. I send her these voice memos every day of like, in today's episode of how deep is your faith, or how certain is your faith? Because like this has been my life as of late. Every day is a lesson for me to kind of go through. It feels like a video game sometimes of like, how much am I going to anchor into that faith and trust it? Because so much is unraveling inside of me. So much is dying inside of me, which is a whole other thing that I'll talk about on my podcast. And on my podcast, I'm going to do a whole series on this of how deep my faith has been in the last few months, with like so many things rapidly changing. But this is the same for you. So when you ask for something, the idea and the concept of manifestation that nobody really talks about is the surrender part, right? You ask for something, you embody that energy, and then you surrender it. And when we surrender, in that surrender, what does that mean? In that surrender, we are telling Gus, God, Universe, Source, I trust you 110% that whatever I've asked for, you will deliver at the proper time. At the proper time. And what does at the proper time means? God will decide. The universe will decide. Source will decide when that thing will come into my life, because it's going to land in my life when it needs to. At the perfect timing. We don't know the perfect timing. God does. And probably next week, I'll talk a little bit about what happens during the period of surrender, right? Because in the period of surrender, there's a lot of very heavy emotions that start to come up, especially if we are new on this journey of understanding, right? If we haven't done the inner work, if we haven't done the healing, a lot of that initial period of surrender and waiting for the thing to come in is very heavy, can be very painful, can actually feel like what is going on. And then it's like we're just making that cycle longer and longer and longer, because we're in this energy or this frequency of actually repelling the thing from coming into our life. And I'll talk about that more next week, about what happens when we're in surrender. But to end today's video is really just simple. It's about when you ask for something, even today, if you're asking for strength, if you're asking for love, if you're asking God for a little bit more of just peace. I just want a little bit of peace today. I just want a little bit of time to myself. Ask for it and let go of the outcome. Detach from the outcome. Detach from how it's going to happen. Detach from when it's going to happen. And then see. Because the second you surrender, like completely surrender, it's there. Like this. It's there. It'll just pop up and you'll just be like, whoa, that was quick. But we extended that time because in the period of surrender, we're going through our own things, right? Like our soul is like going through the cycle. It's going through the spiral. Our humanness is going through the cycle, I should say. Our soul is actually leading us back to the faith, back to the certainty. But our humanness, our human self, is going through the spiral of like, should I trust this? I don't know if I should. Is it going to work out? It's never worked out in the past. It's like all of these things start to come up within us. The doubt, the fear. Maybe I shouldn't ask for it. Maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe I'm not good enough. All of those things start to come up after we ask, because that's the inner work we need to work on. And actually the lesson is that, right? When you ask for something and you're trying to manifest something, right? So manifestation is just asking. When you ask for something and then you're trying to get into that embodiment, when you're in that period of embodiment of actually matching the energy of what you're asking, that is the lesson. That is the lesson, right? The lesson isn't the ask. The lesson isn't to get the blessing. The lesson is in between the ask and the blessing. And in that period, can you stay faithful? One, but can you also go through the work? Those are two very important things. And if you're able to do those two things, then you will always get the blessings that you're asking for. All right, so next week we'll be back with a video on surrender. I'll talk a little bit about the period of surrender, and what happens there and how you can kind of work through that. I'll give you some tips on that. But that's all for today. I love you all so much. Peace, love, and light. Namaste.